Standing in the wake of this train wreck, my heart is beating faster in my chest. This depression terrifies me. When I'm awake, it's like these thoughts, they paralyze me. I don't wanna feel like this. I don't wanna feel like this. Time stops, weightless and cold. Silence burns like fire while my fears unfold. There's panic. Tooth to my cheek, too hard to speak without you. Lungs drained of air, life feels unfair without you. Come back to me, don't leave me to dream about you, dream about you, dream about you. How can I breathe without you? How can I breathe without you? Without you. What is left to say when the sky falls? I'm staring at your ghost in the stars. There's not a day that I don't miss you. The feeling swelling overflow, it's like I see you, hear you. I don't wanna feel like this. Why do I still feel like this? Heart ripped out of my brain. I sit here talking to myself. I think I'm going insane with my tooth to my cheek. Too hard to speak without you. Lungs drained of air. Life feels unfair without you. Come back to me. Don't leave me to dream about you, dream about you, dream about you. How can I breathe without you? How can I breathe without you? The only way to fix this, the only way to fix this pain inside, the only way to fix this is a deep breath in as you say goodbye.
I kick ass for the Lord.
What about me?
I never loved him the way that I love you. Just drops the mic.
Fit me with his butt.
Can't see it from here.
What about the panty?
What about the panty? What's up, Butters? Gets you every time, doesn't it?
It's not even. It's what about the panties?
What about the
That makes me
panties?
laugh every week. I love it. What about the
But
panties?
what about the panties,
What
guys? What
about
about
the
the panties?
panties?
If you're just now joining us, this is your first time ever joining us. Welcome to 52/1993, the live movie conversation podcast where we discuss movies from the year 1993. I'm your host, Cody, and I'm joined by my co host this week, Steven. And like I said, if you're first time joining us, welcome in. We're happy for you to join us today. Just to give you a little bit of a rundown of what we do. Basically, we watch movies from the year 1993, 52 of them, in fact, one every week. Important movies released this year by weekend releases. Doesn't matter if they're good, they're bad. And then I have my guest host on to talk about them with me and sometimes ask what they've been up to and what they've been watching lately and give us some recommendations at the end. So welcome in, Steven. How you doing, man?
Hello, and I'm excited about movie number 50. 50,
Number
right?
50, yeah.
Only two left. I'm feeling good. Um, hadn't seen this one in its entirety, so it was fun. It was a good watch, man. It was a good. I see why it was such a big movie. It's a
Yeah.
big movie.
I think that this is a movie that is constantly on like TNT or TBS or AMC or something like that, that you would always catch like a part of it and you'd sit down and just watch it. And especially if
Yeah,
your everybody's dad loved this movie, I feel like.
and I'm pretty sure, like, I don't know, I could do it, but like, I'm pretty sure if you Googled like top modern westerns or something, along those lines, this one's gonna be on everybody's list. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
it's a solid watch. It's a solid western. Yeah, I enjoyed it, man. I'm glad to be a part of this once again.
Yeah. Well, we're happy to have you back. And of course, this week we're talking about the movie Tombstone. Tombstone. I'll go into describing a little bit and then we'll start talking about it a little bit more. Tombstone came out on Christmas Day, 1993. It was directed. Uh, it says it was directed by George Cosmatos, but that was after there was some struggles in there, and there's still question about whether or not he really did direct any of this, or maybe he directed some of this. But it was written by Kevin Jari, and it stars Kurt Russell as Wyatt Earp, Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday, Sam Elliott as Virgil Earp, Bill Paxton as Morgan Earp. We got Powers Booth as Curly Bill, Michael Biehn as Johnny Ringo, Dana Delaney's in this movie as Josephine Marcus, Stephen Lang's here as Ike Clanton, Robert Mitchum, who's an old time movie star, was the narrator. He was actually supposed to be in this movie, but broke his leg or something. So they were like, here's the narrator part. We've also got Charlton Heston in this movie, Jason Priestley, John Tenney, Thomas Hayden Church, Dana Wheeler Nicholson, Joanne Pakula, Michael Rooker, Harry Carey Jr., Billy Bob Thornton's in here, Paul Ben Victor, Frank Stallone,
What a cast, right?
Billy
Like so
Zane, John Corbett, Terry O'Quinn. And those people that I just listed off all like had tiny roles. Like,
so many familiar faces. Like even if I didn't know their names, like a lot of people in the background, and they just like kind of zoom by. That I'm like, wait, that guy. Wait, that girl. Like what a cast.
that's what
Incredible
happened to
cast.
me this time around. Like, I actually paid attention to people in this and I was like, no way, that guy's in this movie.
Yeah, for a
Billy, and then
second.
I forgot about Billy Bob Thornton being in this.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
heard his
Yeah.
voice and I was like, man, that sounds like Billy Bob Thornton. And then you see him and I'm still like not convinced because he's like a fat Billy Bob Thornton.
Yeah. Young, chubby Billy Bob.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, hey, that guy. Michael Rooker, who's been in like the Marvel movies and Walking Dead and all that stuff. Like, he pops up. And yeah, it's just an interesting cast. A lot of people that went on to be bigger and more famous than this movie allows. But synopsis for this movie, I'll give it to you. I've never read it. Wyatt Earp and his brothers Morgan and Virgil have left their gunslinger ways behind them to settle down and start a business in the town of Tombstone, Arizona. While they aren't looking to find trouble, trouble soon finds them when they become targets of the ruthless cowboy gang. Now, together with Wyatt's best friend, Doc Holliday, the brothers pick up their guns once more to restore order to a lawless land. So, not a bad descriptor.
Pretty accurate.
So this movie had a box office or a budget of $25 million and went on to make about $73.2 million. So it wasn't bad, wasn't terrible at the box office. It made 50 million on top of what it put into it. So profited definitely. This movie also had some decent reviews. Rotten Tomatoes at 72%. IMDb has it at 7.8 out of 10. Letterboxd at 3.8 out of 5. So roughly all around the same there. A couple reviews here is a tough talking but soft-hearted tale that is entertaining in a sprawling, old-fashioned manner. Emmanuel Levy of Variety said that. And then Owen Gleiberman of Entertainment Weekly said it plays like a 3-hour rough cut that's been trimmed down to a slightly shorter rough cut, and gave it a C-. So interesting there. And
Yeah.
I didn't really go on to do anything else other than just play on TV for the next like 30 years. No awards, nothing came out of this. Kind of just was Tombstone, and that was it. But any initial thoughts about Tombstone before we start breaking it down and going scene by scene? Or
No, I mean, just a little. I'd say a little about my background. Like I definitely have had family members growing up that were big Western fans. So like I'm, coming from like a lot of Bonanza, a lot of John Wayne, like
Clint
and
Eastwood?
yeah, and I think from the get-go, it's just like the the gang that they chose was strong. Strong gang, man. Strong brothers, strong gang of good guys. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think it was enjoyable, man. So I'm excited to get into it. See
I've
what you
seen that.
thought.
I've seen this movie so many times before and never really like sat down with like purpose, intentionality of like just watching it and trying to not pick it apart, but like see things. And I think when I first started watching, I forgot that the brothers, that like gang of brothers that we see, and even including
Yeah,
Doc eventually, like they didn't go to town there to be cops.
yeah,
They didn't go there to
yeah.
be lawmen. They were just like, hey, we're gonna make our money and keep our heads low and not have
But
to worry about. I forgot all about.
when you say you've seen it a bunch of times, have you seen it because it was like on list, or are you like, I know you've seen a bunch more movies than me, but what's your take on westerns like
Oh,
in general? You a fan?
I do like westerns, and because I've had a list of like 1,001 movies that I'm trying to watch, like stupid
Yeah,
list that just keeps me going. I've seen a lot of westerns. Now I've seen a lot of bad westerns, and
yeah,
when a good western, like you come upon a good western, like it really sticks with you. And you can say that like westerns were the, I don't know, comic book movies of today, especially like in the 50s, 60s. Those were like the comic book movies there. So
so you've
they
seen
were,
a lot,
yeah.
and so was this just like, did your family sit down and watch Tombstone
Oh
together?
yeah. So like
Okay.
we had the VHS that is playing back here is my family's VHS that we had. And so we watched it. My dad loves westerns, loves John Wayne, specifically loves Clint Eastwood movies. My grandpa, like my whole family were like, all the men anyway, liked westerns. They were always on TV. Same thing. Bonanza, loved Bonanza, Little House on
Yeah.
the Prairie. Like that stuff was always on.
Okay.
And even to this day, like my parents watch what is that new one that's on TV that everybody talks about? Yellowstone. That's
Yeah,
like a
yeah, yeah.
modern day western.
Okay.
And my parents still watch that, and uh
Somehow
Mhm.
my dad's still watching like some Bonanza, when it's not the Andy Griffith show, like every now and then I'm seeing Bonanza, but like
Yeah.
both grandfathers, big Bonanza. One grandfather in particular, big into John Wayne and
Mhm.
seeing those movies. So it was like there's almost a little nostalgia. Like, and I don't watch westerns. Like, I
Yeah.
would say I've seen a few modern westerns since that time in my life, which we'll kind of talk about later. But
Mhm.
uh, I don't know why I hadn't seen this one in its entirety because it's known so well. And
Yeah.
yeah, that was definitely a good watch. Good watch.
And chat says it best, in kind of exactly how I feel. A great Western is great, but that's like 1%.
Yeah,
So yeah, there's gonna be a lot of really shitty Westerns out there.
like you said, there's a lot of when they're bad, there's just kind of a big kind of cartoon
Mhm.
element.
Very
The damsel in
Yep.
distress, and like
Very
yeah,
formulaic, exactly.
yeah.
But yeah, if you catch an old Western like High Noon or, um, even I saw one in the last couple of years that I really fell in love with Jimmy Stewart. It was called like The Naked Spur. Like you catch a
Yeah.
movie like that, an old one, and it actually like changes that formula just a little bit,
Yep.
to where you're not used to it. OG Yuma, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, if it changes that formula just a little bit, you're like, okay, I'm in. Like this is way more interesting than what I've been uh, fed or given.
Yeah, I dare to bring up the Hateful Eight, but that's that we left that in another conversation.
That's a newer western, and there's another thing, like there's just not a lot of new westerns out too.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Yeah, and I think that because of that, you start changing the formula. The reason I
Mhm.
think of that is because like you start changing the formula a little too much, and it might fall at the bottom of a Quentin Tarantino list when it shouldn't.
Yeah, maybe. It's a pretty movie. It's a pretty movie.
It's so
But
pretty,
but
yeah,
even in that, like if we talk about Hateful Eight, and I won't stay on it, but like
yeah,
it's still like very formula driven. Like it's a who it done it kind of thing,
yeah,
and it all takes place in that one cabin in the middle of everywhere. I mean, it's still got a formula to it, so it's not too crazy. It's just got that Tarantino thing on it. So
yeah, yeah.
all right, so let's go ahead and start talking about some of the scenes that really stood out to you in the movie. So I'll start with you and see where we
Yeah, I
go.
mean, I'm easy on this one because kind of like I start with the opening. I liked the black and white kind of review of just like how the Cowboys came about. Like the intro to the first organized gang of dudes that were just like, we're gonna do whatever we want.
Hmm.
I like that setup there at the very beginning. I was a fan of that.
Yeah, and that brings up another. So that brought in a man that has been in westerns for his whole career, and that's Robert Mitchum, um, who I would say has probably played his share of like villains and good guys in Western movies specifically. But apparently that was, yeah, I think I already mentioned it. He had broken his leg and was supposed to be another character in this, but they were like, "Hey, you can be the narrator and get."
Great
Yeah,
voice
great
for it.
voice. If
Yeah.
you guys want to watch a Robert Mitchum movie, maybe none of you do, but Night of the Hunter is a black and white movie. There's some really cool shots in that movie, and he is one of the best villains ever. I suggested it to Spencer. He didn't like it because he doesn't like black and white
Mm,
movies. But yeah, if you can get
gotta
past all
have
that
color.
stuff,
Spencer's gotta
uh,
have color. Yeah.
that's right. So
Yeah.
definitely check that out. So okay, you got that. That scene with the introduction of the Cowboys. I think that also leads into that next scene, which is like where they're at the wedding.
Yeah. 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 And so we get like kind of the background, and then we get to meet the present day Cowboys, and kind of like
Mhm.
get to see who's in charge, see why nobody likes them, and they're the bad guys. Because uh, we don't get the background of why they pulled up on this wedding the way that they did. But like, yikes, you know.
Yeah,
Yikes!
but
That's
like
it.
it shows that they don't care too. Like
I don't
they went
care.
to kill like specific people at that wedding, and then end up killing the groom, the bride, and they end up killing the preacher too.
Just
So
kill everybody,
just
man.
kill them all.
Kill everybody. Yeah, it's crazy.
It did feel
Uh,
a little like maybe you've seen Three Amigos a little
yeah,
bit. It definitely got
yeah,
Three Amigos vibes.
yeah. One of the things I love about westerns for sure is like the zoom in on the face, just like the
Hmm.
intensity of them, like the stare down. Um, and yet, like that's it's a really good example of just how crazy things were at a time, right? Like that really was a thing. Is that like 10, 12 dudes on horses would just pull up and shoot everybody.
Yeah.
And
No real law.
yeah, I feel like with more blood splashes there at the beginning, and we got way more of a Tarantino scene because they shoot everybody, like,
Yeah.
and I think that's the nature of a western too, is like letting the bad guys show up and like surround you before any
Mhm.
shots get fired. Just like, oh, that we know what these guys are here to do. Like, let's let them get off their horses and get established. Like nobody ever. Yeah, that's poor innocent folks get mowed down beginning of the movie.
Yeah. So these guys are bad dudes. The
Bad
Cowboys are
dudes
bad
just
dudes.
yeah, they killed the Mexican police with no regard, no regard.
Mm-mm. One thing I'll say, I love the Cowboys. Like, I think they are having the most fun in this movie.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, just chewing up the scene. Powers Booth is killing it. Michael Biehn kills it as Johnny Ringo. I mean, uh, I think I can't even remember what his name is at this point, but Ike Clanton, like he's drunk the entire time, and he
Oh
looks
yeah,
pretty rough, and like I think they're just chewing it up there. So
yeah.
it would have been fun to be one of the Cowboys, not in real life, but in this movie, it would have been fun.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So, what's your next scene? Because I don't think I'm still a ways from mine.
And then I got meeting the brothers
Okay,
and Doc there early.
yeah,
I think the movie does such a good job of making it feel like they're brothers, that haven't seen
hmm
each other in a while when they get off the train. That was like kind of heartwarming. It was like, oh yeah, we've been doing different stuff. It's like when you get together with the boys, It's like,
yeah.
hey, yeah, and they're all like meeting each other's spouses,
I
and or girlfriends, whatever they are.
Yeah, there's a lot of what is it? Common law wives, I feel like.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Those,
Yeah.
yeah.
I love this scene too, and for every reason that you just said, where they're meeting all of their wives and meeting back up. Maybe they hadn't seen each other in a while. They've been writing to each other or whatever. But like Wyatt gets him to stand in front of that window and you see the reflection. He's like, look at us. Like,
Yeah,
we're all here. We're all happy. We're about to make a name for ourselves. I really like that.
that scene, like that was almost my first scene, but like I thought the kind of callback to the black and white was cool, and then
Mhm.
when they got off the train and like you're saying, and they looked at themselves in the window, it just felt like, man, they did a great job in 2 minutes of making it feel like they're really brothers that
Yeah.
haven't seen each other in a while and like are super pumped about making a bunch of money instead of like trying to keep the peace anymore.
Yeah. I love any time, and I know this is jumping around, but I love any time that Wyatt Earp gets approached in this movie, and they're like, "Oh my God, you're Wyatt Earp," and he's
You're
like,
that
"Not
dude.
now, not
Yeah,
now. Leave me alone. I'm retired."
yeah,
I love that.
man.
Um,
Like, and it's one thing to be that famous now, but like he's riding trains, man. He's riding trains, and like people still know who he is. So like Hollywood's gotten so lazy, we'll probably end up getting a prequel to Tombstone. You know,
yeah, seriously,
I'd watch it. I'd watch it. Yeah,
I'd watch it. Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
Um, But yes, I like that. I like them in the window, seeing their reflection, and then it goes, I think, immediately into meeting Doc Holliday. Uh,
Yeah,
and I
which Doc,
he's
man.
so good.
Is there a time that he doesn't open his mouth in this movie that's not just gold? I
It
mean,
was hard for me to like choose quotes because I was
yeah,
like, oh my god, Doc Holliday, Doc Holiday, Doc Holiday. He is just
everything he says, yeah,
yeah. Everything he says is amazing, and like we meet him, he's playing poker against somebody, a couple guys or whatever, or he's playing poker against one guy. His wife or whatever she is there, um, and he's just gaming them, man. He's just
yeah.
winning and so good that we made it, and he's just outsmarting his opponents at every.
So, do you think like are we? Are you? I'm picking up like by that point, like that Doc and the brothers know each other just because they've all been like law dudes.
Mm-hmm.
They've all been sheriffs.
Yes, I don't know what I still don't know like in real life what Doc Holliday's
Yeah,
connection is to the Earp brothers, because like even the Earp brothers are like, except for Wyatt, are like, oh man, Doc, like, and Wyatt says like, I think he's funny, so screw you guys,
yeah.
like I want
I
him
want
around.
because like the scene you're talking about, they seem like he eventually stabs the dude and they like rob the place, right? So I
Well, I
wonder
don't
if
think they rob it. I mean, they're taking their
they're
winnings.
taking the money that they won. Okay, but
Yeah,
they just stabbed the dude because he didn't want to lose. Okay,
yeah.
yeah, it's kind of unclear who Doc has been, right?
Hmm.
He, there's not is there ever a time that they're like, he used to be a sheriff or like a peacekeeper guy?
He's a
Or just,
dentist, man.
he's just a dude. Yeah, he's a
He's the
dentist.
dude. No,
He was the dentist to all of them. Yeah. Okay.
yes, he's their dentist, I
All
think.
right.
No, so just relating what the chat just said, all of this story is fake, by the way. Professional tuberculosis haver. Lunger. Lunger just feels so rude to me. I don't know why. But anyway, like most of this is just based on what Wyatt Earp made up. Like he told
Yeah.
stories about all of his friends and brothers and stuff. And some of this stuff, it did happen, but might not happen the way that
Yeah,
we.
because he just showed up in Hollywood, so like started telling stories, right?
Yes.
And this
Yep.
is how. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. He was friends with like all these old school actors. Tom Mix, I think, is one of like all these old school dudes in Hollywood. And he was just like, yeah, me and my buddies used to do this stuff.
Yeah.
So who knows what's true? Who knows what's real? But we do know that Doc Holliday had tuberculosis because that fool is sweating the entire damn time.
Man, he looks so sick. Or like makeup and hair and makeup, whatever. That from the get go. Did anybody say like, "Oh man, you don't look so hot"?
I think
That's kind
so.
of yeah. I
He gets told multiple times in this movie, "Hey man, you probably should take it easy."
later, yeah, later, but yeah, you're right, yeah, but
Well, they all
yeah, he's
call
not.
him a lunger. Like all the people that hate him, they're always like lunger. He's
Yeah,
got the lunger.
tuberculosis, man, yeah.
Yeah. No, I
This
love
guy's just
this.
spitting up blood and like, I'm fine,
Yeah.
I'm good.
I also love this scene where she sits on his lap and she goes, "Dear, you're not wearing a bustle." And I forget what he says after it, but he was just like, "That's not very ladylike of you," or something. But he's great. He's incredible.
Yeah, he's actually my he's got my next scene. What do you got next?
My next scene is where Wyatt kind of goes into meet Billy Bob's character, Johnny Tyler,
Yes,
who's like bullying those people, which I think is the next time we see Doc Holliday too afterwards. But yeah,
yes.
Wyatt walks in there and Johnny Tyler's bullying a lot of people. There's nobody in this saloon, and Wyatt's like, "Well, I'm
And
just going to take over."
they're going in with the goal of like getting money, right? Like
Hmm.
so they're like, if we clear this place out, we can like, work a deal with the owner to get a cut. That's like the
Yes.
end game, right? And they're like, oh, this guy's the one causing the problems, that he's the reason nobody comes in here. and goes over to take. And then here we get Billy Bob Thornton, young, chubby
Young,
Billy
chubby
Bob
Billy Bob.
Thornton.
And God, he says some good lines to Billy Bob in this.
Yeah,
Oh man.
what do you got?
When he says, I got it right here. I gotta find it. Wyatt Earp. Go ahead, skin it. Skin that smoke wagon and see what happens.
Yeah, man. And I read too that like they just kind of let Billy Bob ad lib.
Mm-hmm.
That's not. That's. I think that's one of the fun facts I had written down later. But it's so impressive. I went back to that scene after I read that and just like watched Billy Bob uh do his thing again. And like, man, if that was ad libbed, he did so well. Did so well.
I want somebody when I won't have a gun ever, but I want somebody. It'll probably be my dick or something, but to tell me skin that smoke wagon and see what happens.
Yeah, I had that as one of my quotes as well.
He just smacks the shit out of Billy Bob and like embarrasses Billy Bob, and then essentially is like, "Hey, I'm your new Pharaoh dealer," which I don't even know how to play Pharaoh, but whatever. And then Billy Bob comes back with a shotgun because he's about to take out
And
Wyatt Earp.
clearly he knows Doc.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. It's like, man, who is Doc? Who has he been, man? Because Billy Bob comes shotgun drawn and they just ignore him for like they're like in conversation, they acknowledge him and they're like, hold on.
He's
And he
like,
just
"Oh,
stands
Johnny,
there.
I forgot you were still there."
Yeah, man, that was so good. Doc.
Doc, well, I think Doc has this reputation of being like obviously like a gun, like a fastest draw kind of guy. You don't mess with Doc
Yeah.
Holliday. Like he does dentistry and he can.
Man, I'm just gonna be honest though, if like, if I found out he had tuberculosis, I'd probably be a little, I'd test him a little bit more. Everybody seems to be still pretty scared of him. The tuberculosis must have not slowed him down on this gun draw. But
That's the only thing he
yeah,
keeps up with.
yeah. Speaking of, like, my next scene is the when they first encounter, they get going in town with their gambling games, and they meet Ringo
Hmm.
and Billy. Um, and man, what a well done cup swing. That's my
Oh,
next
it's
scene.
such a good scene.
That's my next scene. Like, I just love how, he does basically all the tricks you can do with a gun. Like, he
Yeah.
does the double, he does the backwards, he does the sideways back into the holster. And it's like, man, how do you top that? And he just goes in with the cup.
The cup
Man,
is
it's,
so
the
funny.
cup swing is so good.
I love the Latin speaking too that they do at the end there
Yeah.
in Vino Veritas. And
Apparently, it's all like real Latin stuff. They're
yeah,
saying
there's
real
one in
things.
there that doesn't make like a ton of sense.
Yeah,
But I love the Fred White, the marshal who ends up getting killed. He's like, "Well, I don't want to hear or I don't want to fight to start. I don't care what language it's in or whatever it is."
I like the way that Doc's like, oh, he's clearly an intelligent man. I definitely hate him now.
Yes,
Like,
I love that. He's an
uh,
educated man, darling. I hate him even more.
yeah, love that. Love that.
Requiescat. I don't know how to say. I don't know how to do Latin. Sorry, chat. In pace. But there's one that's like about a Jewish man that I didn't really understand what the what it was about. So I don't know.
Yeah, clear it up, chat. If you
Figure
can,
it out. Figure it
yeah,
out.
figure it
Figure it out. I think after that scene, I love that scene. That is amazing.
out. Yeah,
Is when Curly Bill shoots the marshal and then kind of sets everything in motion.
that's
Curly
my
Bill
next
out of
scene. Curly
opium.
Bill. I got it as Curly Bill on drugs.
Yeah, opium. He comes out of the opium
Yeah.
den and he's just got the guns. He goes to give his guns up and just shoots Fred White in the chest. And nothing happens after that. I mean, he gets arrested, But this kind of forces the Earps to get into the law
Man,
enforcement
and it
thing.
is kind of crazy because my wife walked in while I was watching this and was like, "Man, isn't it wild that there was a time that you could just do opium?" And it is crazy because you don't really like, unless it's Requiem of a Dream, like you don't really see people just like doing opium in normal westerns, or like maybe you do. Like it's not a normal thing in the movies I watch, at least. And
Well,
so it is cool to see kind of like an accurate depiction of what a crazy, like would wake up from sleeping on opium and just be like, I'm gonna shoot at the moon. Like I feel like that's pretty true to waking up from an opium binge.
well, another thing, in this thrown away story part of Wyatt Earp is his wife or whatever. She's just downing what is essentially like some opium drink the
Yeah,
entire
yeah.
time. She's like on it the whole
I just
time.
got a headache. It's not a big deal.
Need a headache. Not a big deal at all.
I'm just doing heroin for an headache. It's not a big deal.
Poor Dana Wheeler Nicholson. I love her.
Yeah.
She's from Fletch. If anybody's ever seen Fletch, she's like the
Mm,
main girl in Fletch. She's so good. But
Maddie.
yeah, Maddie.
Maddie.
Justice for Maddie.
Yeah, justice for Maddie.
She got screwed in this movie a little bit. They didn't. You
I don't
see her,
know,
and then all of
but
a sudden you don't see her, and then the narrator's like, "She's dead."
well, you were saying earlier, it wouldn't be fun to be the Cowboys in real life, but it'd be fun to play her. It's like, man, she's just drinking opium all movie.
Mhm.
So fun
She's
role
having a
just
great
to lay
time.
around. Yeah, having a great time in bed. Mm.
So, Curly Bill shoots Fred White. That's my next one, and this kind of pushes Virgil first into deciding that there needs to be a little bit more law and order
Because
in
now the marshal's
Tombstone.
dead.
Yeah, Marshall's dead,
Marshall's dead.
so
Sheriff's a bitch.
the
We haven't
sheriff
talked
is a
about
bitch.
him. We haven't talked about the sheriff yet, man. Sheriff's such a bitch.
He is a
Maybe
bitch.
that's all we need to say.
But we do find out that sheriff is in kind of cahoots with the Cowboys, like
Yeah. There's something about those hats like the sheriff was wearing.
a bowler hat.
Like, yeah, it's like that's not a good guy. It's like I don't know if that was like a rich guy hat. Seemed like the city guy hat, maybe. But
Yep. HBIC head bowler in charge.
yep.
A cab, all cops.
Yeah.
A cab. Even the Earps.
Yeah, sure. Like as soon as, because that's what got the marshal killed anyway. You know,
Mhm.
like they were like, "Hey man, somebody's got to stop this guy," and the sheriff sent the marshal out, and he got killed. Sheriff was a bitch and continues to be a bitch
And I don't
throughout the
understand
movie.
what Dana Delaney's character sees in the sheriff because she's like hooking up with him.
It must be a power thing,
Yeah,
and he's a boss, man. He's got money.
he's got money. You're right. There's a lot of this movie that we don't see.
That's
Like,
true, man.
there has to be over an hour, maybe 2 hours of footage or storyline that we don't see because
Yeah.
it skips around, or you see like subtle like inferences to we just don't know what's going on. We never see them hook up. We never see like it's weird. This movie jumps
Yeah,
around a lot.
yeah, well, and it sounds like from some of the stuff that I read, they cut a lot, right? Like
Yeah.
that it could have been like a 3-hour movie, but they cut like half the movie. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense that they were just jumping around a lot, and it also calls into question all that director stuff with Kurt
Hmm.
Russell being really in charge and this and that, and then firing the guy. They like didn't get but like a month in and fired the first director,
And
so
he was the
makes
guy that
sense.
wrote it.
Yeah, so just trying to piece it together makes sense. Shoot as much as you can and
Yeah.
throw it together. Makes sense.
What's your next scene?
Next scene, I got the OK Corral.
Yeah.
The famous OK Corral.
The showdown at the OK, which took like 30 seconds
Yeah, it was so
total.
fast. It was so fast, and really of the guys around, I was hoping, Ike, that guy
You
really
want to talk about a bitch? Ike is a bitch.
yeah, Ike is such a bitch the whole movie, and makes it out of that as he does everything else. But yeah, the OK Corral got two of the brothers injured
Mm-hmm.
from that showdown, and then you've also got the Cowboys pissed too because he killed some of their big
Including
guys.
including Ike's brother, Thomas Hayden
Yeah,
Church.
this really
Um,
sets it off.
I love it. The line, Doc again during this scene. You'd be a daisy if you did, or you'd be a daisy if you do, or whatever it is that he says when he
Yeah.
has him, and then he gets shot up by.
Well, and this is after like Virgil and Morgan decided they were gonna be the law. Now that the
Mm-hmm.
marshals gone, they're gonna be the marshals, and they try to get Wyatt involved, and Wyatt knows, man, he knows. Like that's the turning point of the movie.
Yeah.
If they listen to Wyatt at that point, take all the money they've made up to that point, and just leave. That's a happier ending for these
Mm-hmm.
guys for sure because the OK Corral just sets the fire
I just think that
ablazing.
Wyatt wanted one. Like Wyatt was always about let's leave, let's live on room service the rest of our lives. Let's just like get our money, make our money, and just keep going, kind of thing. And like
Man,
I don't think the other Earp brothers wanted that. I think they wanted
I
to
I
stay.
I get that. I get that more than I ever have in my life because
Yeah.
as somebody who like you want to help everybody, you want to keep the peace. He's been doing it. He's well known for it. And you realize like no matter how much good you do, there's still more to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like he's just trying to retire.
Yeah.
He just wants to retire and he realizes if we go over here, make some money, we could just chill forever and not have to do this. But the brothers, they're seeing they're seeing the injustice of these cowboys. I think he like he moves a boy out of the street from getting run over by the cowboys, and he's like, "I gotta do something about this,"
That's pretty good
like
Sam Elliott. Not
yeah,
bad.
it makes sense because they are pretty reckless, man. They're
Yeah.
reckless.
And they've got their wives. They just want to chill, like, but they also don't want people to step all over they don't want to get stepped on themselves. And yeah, that scene with Virgil where he pulls that kid out of the road, but then he sees the mom of that, and she's got like that scar on her face, and you could just
Because they
tell
were when they
everybody's
came by,
scared.
they were like cracking the whips on
Hmm.
the horses, and it like makes sense that they got her at some point. And
When I
yeah,
think I don't know if it's Morgan or something that says it, or after this, but they talk about like we've made our money and we're just kind of like ignoring the problems that are around. Like we're privileged and all these other people are suffering just trying to live their lives. So
yeah, I mean, to some extent, you got to agree with the argument that I don't remember who makes it. Like you're kind of taking advantage
yeah.
of people who have a problem, and it's like Wyatt says like I'm not making them come and walk through the doors,
Hmm.
like that, and it's kind of grimy, and that's why like make your money and leave. Don't keep taking advantage of people. But yeah, it's too late now because it Virgil gets shot in the shoulder, right?
More
Morgan in the shoulder, Virgil in the leg,
yes, that's it. That's how it happens.
and they both keep firing. Man, they're badasses, So they bounce back really fast too.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
like
and you don't know what the timing is of any of this stuff.
yeah.
Because they seem fun. Like we get to like their assassination attempts after this.
Oh man, which is dirty, right? Then the
Oh yeah.
Cowboys realize like if we fight fair, these guys are gonna whoop our ass. But if we gotta do them dirty,
hmm So
and they
you get
do.
the attempt on the wives. They're all in one room and they get shot at. I don't understand why the guy ran away after he took the
Yeah,
shot because it was just 4 women in that room. Whatever.
maybe it was the sheriff just trying to ignite it. You know,
Yeah.
he wasn't even trying to hit him. He was just trying to make it, just
Just
trying to get it going.
and then shots are a couple shots are being taken, and Morgan decides to leave it, like to go across the street or like leaves for whatever reason, starts
Yeah,
going to play pool in another saloon.
yeah, and Virgil just leaves too, and that's when he walks back in. He's blasted. They blast Morgan while he's playing pool, and now it's not looking good for the brothers because Morgan, he gets shot, man, in the work. That scene's tough. That scene's tough when then like when it shows where he got shot, it's like, oh, that's spine. That's
Yeah.
spine, like where all the nerves are, like, and they're just metal tongs trying to pull a bullet out of there, like. Ouchies, man. We live in
Ex-
a good time. I'm
yeah.
glad that if I get shot, nobody's gonna just try to stick metal tongs in my bullet hole
Or the
and
finger
try
or
to,
their fingers, their gross fingers.
yeah, just try to dig it out of there.
Mm,
Yeah, man. Well, I'm just like biting on a napkin. Like poor guy. Yeah. What a way to go, man.
yeah.
What a way to go. Poor
I
Morgan.
I I've seen a lot of people that don't love this death scene because of Morgan here, but like I like it because it pulls back to when Morgan was talking about the books that he was reading about people, seeing a light when he dies, and
That's one of
uh,
my quotes I got down.
yeah, and him like referencing that and being like, I don't see anything, like
You know how people say there's a light when you die? I can't see anything.
I can't see a damn thing.
Yeah.
And supposedly, depending on whether or not this movie is true or anything, those were his last words. Like, I don't see anything about a light. So, but
I don't know.
Virgil gets shot up here again, and this time
Yeah.
he gets shot in like the shoulder and loses. Like, he won't be able to use his
Man,
arm again.
they did a good job of making his arm look like meat. It
Yeah.
looked like he got like shotgunned in the arm, and his arm was just spaghetti.
Mm.
They did
Yeah.
good. I just noticed. I was like, that's gross. That's like they did a good
That's
job for
kind of gross.
1993. Yeah, they did a good job in 1993.
So yeah, then this is when the movie just kind of goes off. Like, and Morgan dies. They take him to the train station
Yeah.
after the funeral or whatever.
Mm.
When Wyatt says it's over, we're even, kind of thing, and sends him to
Man,
the
that's
train station.
another crazy thing about westerns, right? And especially in this one, is like somebody around you does fucking kills your brother, and you gotta like slow ride by them through town. They're all just sitting on the porch.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's wild. Like all these crazy intense things are happening, and it's like then it's the next day, and they're just like looking at each other from across town. Uh, But yeah, I got this as one of my favorite last scenes because I love the fake out. I
Mm-hmm.
got this as the fake out is like, hey, it's over. We're leaving. But he's playing chess. He knows they're gonna send some dudes after him.
He's
Yeah,
like, "Hey, Maddie, where's Wyatt? I'm right behind you."
I'm right behind you. Yeah. And this is when we get the one of the best quotes, right?
Yeah.
Wait, no,
Yeah.
because it's Ike again, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. He lets Ike go.
Number two. So let's keep track of this. How many times Ike's drunk ass gets let go?
Mm-hmm.
He like is this where he spurs him?
Yes.
Oh,
Picks his foot up
that
and
was
spurs his
yeah. I don't know
feet.
that I've
That was
seen
awesome.
that in a western before. That was like he runs the spur across his like face. I
Pretty
thought that was
badass.
pretty crazy. Yeah, yeah. That's a don't forget me move right there. You remember me forever.
So yeah, we get that line. We get the best
Yeah.
line. You tell him I'm coming, and hell's coming with me.
Hell's coming with me.
Yeah, so good. Which I believe is another reference back to Johnny Ringo talking about Revelation
Yeah.
and talking about the
The
man
pale
who ride the
horses.
pale horse. Yeah,
Yeah.
and hell.
Yeah, yeah.
So love that. But this ends up like pretty much setting the rest of the movie. The next like 30 minutes or 40 minutes is just the what I call the Earp Vendetta ride,
Yeah.
and where Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday and he gets like one of the cowboys or two of the cowboys people. No, one of the cowboys, McManus,
Yeah.
uh, and
And the
two other
dude from
guys.
Texas.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they just
But
go
they
off
were
and just
like, those are the guys that were like, hey, when they shot at the women, that's when we was out.
mhm.
Like I would have been that kind of cowboy. Like I wanna have fun and party and like we can maybe break some of the rules, but like don't shoot at the ladies. Y'all shot at the ladies? I'm out. I'm out. I'm against you guys now. Now you're my enemy. And so
Again.
like yeah, those guys end up being cool. And I do want to bring up that this time and one more time later in the movie when we get kind of like this montage of the gang, the new gang, minus Morgan, minus Virgil. We've got the ex, uh, the ex Cowboys riding together, and this happens later too. We'll get to that, but this is when, in my opinion, the music guy who I got his name right, Bruce Broughton, um, in this montage and a montage later, I feel like he just nails like the Western montage music.
Yes.
It's perfect. And I'll bring it up when we get to when it happens again. But yeah, man, it's just like these scenes of them riding and taking down cowboys, shooting them like I think you get him like hiding behind the horse and shooting from behind it.
That's
The
pretty
music that's
awesome.
playing, like yeah, this guy really showed off for those montages for sure.
Yeah, I love all this. And then we get two big murders during this whole like killings, not murder.
Yeah,
Well, whatever. We finally get like the face off where they get pinned down by that creek bed
yeah,
and they see Curly Bill and they're getting fired on from two different sides and everybody's like, well, what are we going to do now? And Wyatt Earp just starts shouting no and goes out into the creek and just starts shooting everybody. Nobody's hitting him at all. And he ends up killing Curly Bill in that moment. It seems a little like anticlimactic, seeing as he's
yeah,
like a big like main bad guy. But it was still a badass moment.
yeah. I mean, it is. It is. When they first like start shooting from the other side of the river,
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot of guns. It's a lot of cowboys, and when he just decides to go right down the middle. I mean, it's apparently that's part of the true story of it that really happened, and that he really walked through and just you know took care of the boss. Walked through, just skipped level 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, just went right to the boss and killed him in front of everybody. And then they were like, "Whoa!" He killed the boss, and then all of a sudden they're running away.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which is wild. That's wild, man. That reminds me of like
Every time I play Fortnite.
yeah, that or like Braveheart. Not Braveheart, but what's the man, never mind. I
Patriot?
can't think of it. The Patriot, exactly. It reminds me of the Patriot when it's like, man, just one of y'all dudes got to hit. One of y'all. I just like there's so many y'all got so many guns. There's 30 of you. Just one of you just hit just. But nah, he walks straight up. Yeah, that is my crazy WTF
Moment.
moment of the movie right there. I got another one, but like that one also is like that's when you get the cartoon style that we were
Yeah.
talking about earlier.
No.
Yeah, no, I'm
No.
good. I'm good. None of these bullets are gonna hit me, even though we were getting fried over there.
Yeah. I still
Yeah,
don't understand how people didn't hit them. They're like laying behind like the smallest logs ever, and bullets are. I mean, obviously,
lined them up. They were waiting on them. They were
yeah,
waiting on. Yeah, but yeah, that
yeah, that was cool.
yeah, that is a supreme badass move too. Like if you're maybe gonna go out, just like walk right at the boss, and maybe if nobody shoots you, you'll end up like Wyatt.
Wyatt Earp, who
Yeah,
lived
Wyatt
to
Earp,
be, lived to be an old
who,
man. So
who lived to make it to Hollywood. So
then we get during all this, Doc is like still riding with him, although he probably shouldn't be because his tuberculosis is just like
yeah,
killing him. And they shack up at Charlton Heston's house, which is a weird cameo in a little bit. And he leaves him laying in bed, and Johnny Ringo's waiting on him, and he's going to go face Johnny Ringo, or Wyatt's going to face Johnny Ringo by himself.
which
And
is I love the conversation before he leaves that he has with Doc, and he's like, "I can't beat him, can I?" And he's like, "Nah, nah, you can't,
mm-mm.
nah." And he's like, oh, "Okay, well, I
I'm going
guess
to
I'll
go
go
anyway.
try anyway. Yeah, I'm gonna go
Yeah,
try. Yeah."
it's awesome. It's badass. And then we see that, and he's like waiting for Wyatt, and then out of the shadows comes Doc Holliday.
Which is my last scene.
It's
I
so
feel like
good.
that's when Doc shows up and is just like, the way he shoots him in the head and then is taunting him
Yes, you ain't no
after he
Daisy. You ain't no Daisy.
come on, come on, come on, shoots him in his head and then talks shit to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild right there. That's
I
wild.
think when I've seen this movie many times before, I didn't realize that when Wyatt comes up after Ringo is shot, that he says he just couldn't take it. Like he sitting there kind of half-ass convincing him that he shot himself in the head
Yeah.
as part of it. Like that Johnny Ringo just couldn't take it anymore, and he had to kill himself. So
And I love how he's like, I wasn't as sick as I was acting.
yeah,
That wasn't that bad.
his hypocrisy knows no bounds.
Oh man, yeah, love it. Doc
No, but
Holliday,
and then we get kind of like a half-ass ending because
another montage.
this should be like where the movie ends.
Yeah,
I think like this culmination of killing Johnny Ringo, but you have to kill. They still have to kill the one dude, Ike Clanton, who
yep.
still gets away. But they do that in the montage, and then
Number three, number three. They got him. They got guns drawn on him, and he's like, I'm not a cowboy anymore. And they let him
yes,
go. They let him go. And even the narrator is at the end's like, he died 2 years later in a robbery. And it's like,
hmm
that son of a bitch.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, and then we find out that Wyatt's wife died. We find out that Wyatt ends up with that girl who we haven't talked about at all because that's
Josephine.
Josephine. Because that's how like little it mattered in the story.
Yeah, her and
They-
Billy Zane were I don't know why. I don't know
Jason
why.
Priestley too, like that
Yeah.
character, just completely useless in this movie. Like, why is he even in here? Um,
Yeah.
but we get that narration at the end that's like, and then they lived happily ever after. And I kid you not, when that scene came up, I was like, this is the exact same fucking ending as Groundhog Day, and how it just cheesed out. And I was just like, what the hell is this?
Which I did Groundhog Day with you.
Yeah. It's the
Yeah,
same
so
damn
like
ending.
it is the same damn ending.
Let's
You
live
know,
here.
yeah, and like Virgil, just like this nice bow, Virgil went on to be a sheriff again, even though he only
Ooh.
had one arm. He was a one-armed sheriff. Like, man, how many spin-offs could be made from this? I need a doc story, you know? Who
Mhm.
was he? Bring me like 10 years before uh and get me to doc. Um, yeah, I'm surprised there haven't been more good Western series made.
Mhm.
Because I think there's room for that stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, you could definitely make Tombstone into like a 10-part series and
Yeah,
cover everything that you need to cover.
true.
That's because there's a lot that's missing in this, but
I want to see that extended director's cut.
yeah, the Kurt
Yeah,
Russell cut.
give me that Kurt Russell
Give me
director's cut.
that. All right, so I mean, we went through the entire movie. There are some scenes that we missed, obviously, because they're just not important. But
Yeah, I feel
um,
like we left out the like traveling theater
yeah,
because how much did it matter to the whole thing?
it doesn't at
I
all.
think
Like,
only when Billy Zane's character gets killed that pisses somebody off,
yeah,
right? I don't remember who she's like.
Jason Priestley's character, the guy,
Yeah, they're like they killed him, and he just wanted to bring beauty to the world. Like
and he like holds his hand. It's them.
yeah,
All right,
unnecessary.
who's your favorite character in this movie?
Got to be Doc.
Yeah,
Got
it's
to be
definitely
Doc.
got to be
Yeah, he's. I mean, and I think really as I dove to the internet to just like look at reviews and see what other people thought, um apparently Val Kilmer's performance was just uh everybody felt the same way about it as we did.
Yeah.
It's just it is. He is so likable and so sick the whole time.
The
You
whole
know, just so sick the whole time, but so likable and so sassy the whole time. I love it. I love it. Who was
Yeah,
yours?
no, Doc Holliday, I think, is obviously the best character in this. I will give a note though for Johnny Ringo. I think Johnny Ringo is the best villain in this movie. Like,
100%.
actually, like, I'll just give it up to all the main cowboys. Like Johnny Ringo, amazing foil to Doc Holliday in this movie.
Curly
Just
Bill's a nasty bastard.
Curly
Ike,
Bill's
yeah. Um,
even
who
Ike. Yeah, Ike Clanton is great.
who is the other? You probably have named him already. Who's the other very popular actor? He's in Sideways is the movie that
Thomas
jumps out to
Hayden
me that,
Church.
that dies. Yeah, in the corral. Like man, yeah, all of them. They all look so dirty. They look like cowboys, man.
Yeah.
I like when I was doing the recast. I was like, man, how would you fill all these roles?
Mhm.
If you try to do like a 2024 Tombstone, we remade it. It's like your best bet is to bring back the people that are still alive that made the original.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like it's gonna be tough to recast
I
because
don't
it was
know,
so
man.
well.
You just throw a lot of like well-named young actors in those roles. Like
Yeah,
that's all they did then. It's just
that's
well, and
true.
they weren't even well known at that point. So just like these
True.
character actors, just throw their ass in there and let them cook.
Get a bunch of
But
youngins and throw them
yeah,
in there.
but no, Johnny Ringo, Michael Bean. I'm very sad. Like Michael Bean had a pretty good career. He was in the original Terminator movie. He was in Aliens. Um, and he had like a solid start to his career, and then like I don't remember him being in much of anything after like Tombstone. Like it kind of just peters out after that. I don't know,
That's tough, man. That's tough. I mean, maybe
because
he didn't
he
have a
is
good agent
well, he was always playing like good guys and stuff in movies too, and then he finally plays like a bad guy in this movie, and he's
as
freaking
well.
great.
Oh
I don't
yeah.
know.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So
Oh yeah.
all right. Favorite quotes. We've already went over several of them.
Yeah,
Just
and
sitting there talking.
like you said, this is another one. I feel like there was another maybe Mrs. Doubtfire recently that
Mm-hmm.
when I was watching the stream, I didn't talk about Mrs. Doubtfire with you on the stream, but like that was another one that was just like the entire movie, like the
Yeah.
quotes from Robin Williams in that movie, like you could bring up 100. And it felt the same way with Doc Holliday. It was like everything he says
Yeah.
is
Easy quotable.
is quotable, but like for me, I tried to do a little grouping here where I picked some of my favorites from him just because I was like that's going to be the hardest part about the favorite quotes part of the stream, but I think number one for me, and I want to hear your number one favorite Doc Holliday quote after this.
Okay.
Mine is nonsense. I've not yet
Good one.
begun. I've not yet to begun. I guess I've got it copied wrong. I've not yet to begun to defile myself.
Yeah, I've not yet begun to defile myself.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one's primo. I guess I wrote it down wrong, so it didn't come out very smooth. What's
Uh,
your
I
favorite?
I mean, other than I'm Your Huckleberry, which I think is the quintessential one, I have two that I really like. One is when Johnny Ringo says, "You retired too?" And he goes, "Not me. I'm in my prime." I love that.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there's another one where his girlfriend or his wife is like taking care of him and then she starts to like go down on him, I believe. He says, "It's
Take
true, you
care
are
of
a
them.
good woman, but then again, you may be the Antichrist." I fucking love that line.
That's awesome. Yeah, man. He constantly throughout the movie. It's like he's just so different than everybody else.
Yeah.
Like and just everything he says is sassy. I've got let's see. That is a hell of a thing for you to say to me. Uh
Nothing for you to say.
Make no mistake. Make no mistake. It's no revenge. It's not revenge he's after. It's a reckoning.
Mhm.
Um, which I also loved. I had to. I didn't. Did you know what Huckleberry? What that meant? When he said, "I'm your Huckleberry," I was like, "What does that
Yeah.
mean?" Are you familiar with that?
Well, it's just like, I'm your guy. I'm the one that
Yeah,
you wanna
like
come to.
I had to look it up, and I thought, like, what a crazy way to say, like, "Oh, you're looking for a fight? You found it."
Mhm.
Like, "I'm your Huckleberry." Sounds so much more endearing than
Uh, let's see, what else do I have from Doc? I already said, "It appears my hypocrisy knows no bounds."
yeah.
Um, when the sheriff is talking about the town and, like, how it's very cosmopolitan, and then those 2 guys shoot up the place, and Doc just turns to him and goes, "Very cosmopolitan."
Very cosmopolitan. Yeah, that's great.
Um,
I got a few
oh,
from Wyatt as well.
yeah, before we go to Wyatt, he introduces, Doc Holliday to Sheriff Behan. He says, "Sheriff Behan, have you met Doc Holliday?" And Doc replies with, "Piss on you, Wyatt." So, no,
Man,
Wyatt's got some good lines in here too. I'll let you go ahead and give a couple.
yeah, you've already got the go ahead skin it one. I love early on. He's like, already got a guilty conscience. Might as well have the money too.
Yeah.
I love that one.
You gonna do something or you just stand there and bleed?
Yeah, man. He said he's got a lot of tough guy lines,
Mhm.
and like I feel like a lot of um, and a lot of lines that back up that mustache that
Mm.
he's rocking.
All real mustaches too.
Uh, let's see. Your friend might get me in a rush, but not before I make your head into a canoe.
I love that.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that line.
Make your head into a canoe.
Yeah.
All right, Clanton, you called down to thunder. Well, now you've got it.
Yeah, that we've already said the hell's coming with me. You hear? Man, I love early on. You were talking about how Ringo is such a good villain. I love when they the Hispanic fella is like translating, and he's like, "Your Spanish is." Ringo's like, "Your Spanish is worse than your English." He's like, he's quoting the Bible. Man, there's so much in this. I feel like this was they probably weren't doing a lot of improv in this movie, so like it just really goes to that poor guy that got fired early
Hmm.
on. It's probably written really well because there's a lot of great quotes.
I found myself when I was watching the movie just quoting along with it because I knew, like I said, I've seen this movie so many times before, catching it at any most of the time. If I see him in the middle of that cup battle, like the gun Johnny Ringo Doc cup battle thing where he's doing, if I see that, I'm in, I'm locked in. I'm gonna watch that movie the rest of the time it's on. So
Oh
uh,
yeah,
I just think this movie's so quotable, and like I just found myself mouthing along to all of them. Curly Bill has a great one whenever uh, Wyatt is like, "It's over, we're leaving," kind of thing, and Curly Bill just goes, "Well, bye,
bye. I love it.
bye."
Man,
So,
there's really, I think one thing that stands out, it kind of that we're pointing out is that, there's not a lot of bad dialogue. There's not a lot of
mhm.
corny. I mean, him walking down the creek through all the bullets is one of the most cartoonish scenes in this.
Yeah,
Everything else feels pretty real, from him getting off the train to the brothers, to them leaving. When they were leaving, I was like, wait, what the fuck? They're just gonna get. I really felt kind of fooled by it, to be honest, because I'm not familiar and I hadn't seen it before. I was like, why are they just gonna leave? Uh, so yeah, I feel like a lot of really good dialogue like that. What a great that's a great line to bring up from Bill Curly Bill is just like, okay, all right,
bye.
bye.
Great GIF too. If I'll see
Yeah,
that GIF around a lot.
yeah,
Um,
great.
all right, biggest laugh, cry, scare, thrills.
Biggest laugh out loud moment of the entire movie for me was I'm pretty sure it's right before Curly Bill wakes up and goes on his like shooting at the moon thing.
Hmm.
These guys are go no, it's maybe in one of the montages. I, I, these guys are going to hit a pipe.
Oh
It
yeah,
goes off, see
and it's
it, and it comes back as a gun, and then it goes out, and you just hear a gunshot. Man, I thought that made me laugh out loud. That was
that was
great.
pretty
I love
badass.
that. Yeah.
No,
What about you?
I think what I laughed the hardest whenever, and it's crazy that I laughed very hard during the scene, is when Doc shoots Ringo at the end. It's like talking shit to him as he's dying. You
Come
ain't no
on, come
Daisy.
on,
You ain't no
come on. You ain't
Daisy.
no Daisy. Man, that's wild. Like shooting somebody in the forehead and then talking shit to them as they like lose consciousness is that's you don't see that in a lot of movies.
No, you don't.
Yeah,
I thought also this is kind of thrill, but like I thought the assassination night scene was done really well. Like with the thunder and the lightning,
yeah.
it's super dark in the town and everything. I really liked that scene and thought that was pretty good. Like you never knew where anything was coming from or if the thunder was gunshots and all that. So I liked that one a lot.
Yeah, I would say one of the things that could have elevated this movie a little bit for me, with such really like with such great actor. I mean, you've got Bill Paxton dying and Kurt Russell like holding his hands. I just never felt I wasn't like, I mean, I'm a softie. You can
Hmm.
really get me, especially when it comes like I'm brothers. I'm gonna think real quick like, oh man, I got a brother. That would suck. But I just never. I don't. I would say in the past when we've gotten to this point of the conversation, there's usually something in the movie, even Groundhog Day, or Groundhog Day, that like kind of was a moment that I was like, oh, like, It's easy for me. I can get it, especially if I'm in a movie for an hour. You can pull a tear out of me pretty easy. Never in this movie did I feel like that attached, despite the great character development and feeling like they were close. Uh, but yeah, yeah, definitely some ridiculous in this movie. Like while I think that a lot of it felt real and stuff like that, we've already talked about him walking down the creek. Uh, it was kind of a ridiculous moment for me. I was just like, that was a
Yeah.
scary amount of gunfire for you to
Yeah.
just walk out into.
Yeah, I think that's probably the one. I added another one just for that like ridiculous moment, and it's when McMasters's body is just being drugged.
Yeah,
Like, and one, it's ridiculous because you don't even know the story of how McMasters's body gets to them.
it's like,
Like,
why'd you go out on your own, man?
yeah, you don't
Dude,
see that. Where
there's
were
six of
you?
us, man. Like, you gotta hang close.
Stick together, man.
Yeah,
No,
stick
I know.
together.
And then it like like you see it's his body and it's all torn to shit and everything. I was just like, whoa, that's a little much. A little much.
Yeah, I put my biggest WTF moment of the entire movie is every time they let Ike go.
Oh
It's
God.
like
It's so infuriating.
he's the worst. That dude from the beginning is one of the mouthiest motherfuckers of the Cowboys. Kill him.
Kill him.
Kill him. Yeah, and yeah, Ike does a great job from first appearance of being like, ooh, I don't like him.
Yeah.
I want him to go. And makes it through the whole like Cersei in Game of Thrones, makes
Mhm.
it way too long and then you don't get any closure. Which, man, fuck Game of Thrones, by the way.
That's another thing.
Anyway,
Anyway, but Stephen Lang again, like amazing as that role. Like he makes me so mad, and
yeah.
he pulls it off so well. And apparently, he was drunk the entire time he was on set. So great villain. He goes on to be an even better villain. Like he's
Like in real life, he was drunk?
yeah, in real life, he was drunk that entire time he was
Ooh.
on set. So he's method. He's a
Method
method
actor,
actor.
yeah,
Yep.
gotta stay. I mean, if I'm
No,
playing a cowboy, I gotta stay drunk.
but Stephen Lang is probably most famous for being the main bad guy in the Avatar series,
Mm,
the James Cameron Avatar. So he's in all of those movies, and he's a bad dude. So he's good at it. Good for
it's
him.
good at it, man. Maybe I wonder if he's drunk in that too.
He's blue. He lives his life blue now.
So nobody can tell if he's drunk.
That's right. He lives his life as an alien as much as possible. All right. What was the best music moment? I feel like you've already hinted on yours. I've got one that I think is funny.
Which one is? I want to know about yours.
My best music moment in this movie is when Doc Holliday is playing the piano and the guy comes up to him and he's like, "Don't you know any
Mm,
Camptown races? Don't you know any of this?" And he's like, "What is that you're playing?" And he says, "Oh, well, this happens to be a nocturne." And Billy Clanton, Thomas Hayden Church's character, says, "A witch?" And Doc Holliday replies with the only F word in this movie, Frederick fucking Chopin.
yep. Yeah, man. I did. I gave it away. I love those. I love those Western, uh, killing cowboys montage. Man, I just feel like he nailed the montage music for a Western. And it really did, so much so that I was like, this is really good. And I looked into this guy, Bruce Broughton, who did the music for this. You want to know what else he did?
I have no idea.
Rescuers Down Under, Homeward
Okay.
Bound, Baby's Day Out, Hawaii Five O,
This guy's incredible.
couple episodes of Tiny Toons, and a little show called Dinosaurs. I mean, he was all over the place at this time, like doing really great music. So it surprises me very little, like I just said, not a lot of emotion, uh,
Hmm.
tears wise, but man, the end of that Homeward Bound takes us back to the beginning of the year. Some strong music there from Bruce.
We love a Bruce Broughton.
I mean, let me just repeat that one more time. Rescuers Down Under,
Love
Homeward Bound, Babies Day Out. We're talking about a movie that is 50% a baby crawling around.
best career ever.
Hawaii Five O, Tiny Toons, Dinosaurs, and Jag. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Google them.
Google him. We want to give him his flowers. Give Bruce Broughton his flowers.
Bruce Broughton, man. Let me. Yeah. What a career. What a
What?
career.
I'm glad he's getting this appreciation. This is the only time that anybody's like really admired his work, from
I just,
Rescuers Down Under
if
and
I,
Baby's Day Out.
if I could see him and his face right now, I would be like, man, the music from those montages in Tombstone were like, somebody had to say like, hey, we're gonna do a montage here, right? Some really good like Western montage.
Hmm.
Nailed it. Perfection. Perfection. But anyway,
You should reach out to him. Don't you talk? I love
I'm
Rescuers
gonna
Down Under. It
maybe
stars.
yeah.
It
I'm gonna
has a
try
kid.
to.
The main character's name is Cody in Rescuers Down Under. So
I'm trying to take Bruce to dinner for sure.
I think we should reach out to him and see if we can get him on.
Let's get him on.
Let's get him on the
Get him on.
pod. All right,
Get him on the
I'm gonna
pod.
give you a fuck, Mary kill. You ready?
Ready.
It's not gonna be. It's gonna be a good one, I think.
I'm gonna answer
Josephine,
so fast.
Big Nose Kate, which is Doc Holliday's lady, and then Maddie.
Um, I'm going to kill Maddie. 'Cause she's gonna kill herself anyway.
Yeah.
So that's just an easy. I'm going to. Mm, Man, I feel you said it's Virgil. Big Nose Kate is Virgil's lady.
No, Big Nose
No.
Kate is uh Doc's lady.
Yeah, I'm gonna fuck her and marry Josephine.
See, I'm flipping.
Oh, oh yeah. Different answer. Give it to me.
I'm saying I'm Maddie dies. Okay, she's kind of useless, and
Easy. Get her out of here.
get her out of here. I think Big Nose Kate, which yes, that is her name for anybody that's watching or listening or anything. I think I'm gonna marry Big Nose Kate because she stuck around with Doc Holliday
She was a
even though he was sick
yeah.
the entire time. And
I think you're
Josephine,
probably right.
seems a little flighty, although in real life I know that they ended up, living together forever or whatever. But like in the movie anyway, she's all like, I just want to be free and I just want to, do whatever. I feel like she's a little bit flighty and,
I would.
she's not going to stick
The only
around.
thing about Josephine though is, I mean, she set her sights on Wyatt from get go. Like, I mean, she laid
Mhm.
eyes on him out of the carriage,
She
and
said, I want one.
I want one. But like, yeah, I yeah, your answer is more thought out. I think you're
I've had a lot
exactly
of time
right
to think about it. So
because like when he was like, I feel like early on when Doc was like guns out, pointing at everybody. Big Nose Kate was like scooping everything in the bag. Like
yeah,
that's a Bonnie and Clyde type situation. So switching my answer to your answer
I love it.
because that's a
I'm glad
better. That's a.
I'm glad I could
I can
convince you.
yeah convinced your answer is better. And Josephine's just you know mm, better looking in my opinion, and there's some talent there, right? There's some talent. So,
Mhm.
maybe. Oh, screw that. I'm not changing my answer. She said her family's rich.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
I'm sticking with it. Sticking with it.
Okay. All right.
Love you.
Changed his
I agree
answer.
to,
She
I
did
agree
say
to
her family
disagree.
was rich. All right. Best performance. I think we both have the same thing here. It's got to be Val Kilmer.
Got to be Val Kilmer, but like you've said, Ringo has to be mentioned, and Kurt Russell crushed.
Yeah.
So, but Val, I mean, like
Val.
to be pale and sweating the whole movie, crushed it. Yeah,
I try and be pale and sweaty in my own life, and nobody likes me as much as I like Val.
I will never be that pale and sweaty and that likable at the same time.
Yeah. No.
Never,
Good for
never.
him. Good for him. All right.
Yeah.
Let's do a recast now. I didn't do anything for 1993 recast because I feel like that would have been pretty tough.
Man, I honestly, so I had to, I think psychologically quite often, and I realized this about myself as I started doing a recast. It was just all my list consists of every actor I know that has been in another Western.
Mm-hmm.
I was like thinking I'm being clever. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh yeah, this guy would be good for this role, and it's just like, no, he was in that other Western. And then this guy would be. It's just somebody I've seen in another Western.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we can get into it for sure. One of the, I don't, have you seen Daniel Day-Lewis in a Western?
I've never seen the closest I would say for him is There Will Be Blood.
Yeah, which I don't think, kinda, maybe
Or I
Western.
mean, Gangs of New York is like the East Coast West Western, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think like I'm talking about like I think that's one of the people I have on my list that hasn't been in like a Tombstone
Last of the
ish.
Mohicans.
Yeah, I think he could. I think he could do Kurt's role. I
Mm-hmm.
think I think he could take Kurt's role. I
I
think he
like
could
it. I
take
like it because
any of their roles,
yeah,
even. You know.
I like it because you're right. You haven't seen a Daniel Day-Lewis like true Western. I'd like to see what he does with it. That'd be good.
Yeah, I think maybe Adam Driver could do Ringo.
Oh yeah, love Adam
Um,
Driver.
I'm just gonna list off some of the other people that like at the beginning of my list I thought I was being clever,
Yeah.
and then realized it was just other people. I had Jeff Bridges, Kevin Costner, Tommy Lee, Ed Harris, Josh Brolin, Christian Bale, Russell Crowe, Cillian Murphy, Brad Pitt, Shia LaBeouf, like Leo. Even in Django, is kind of like it kind of got a Western vibe to
Mm-hmm.
it. So like I think Leo could be a real good Billy in this one. Like I think
Mm-hmm.
you could make him a good bad guy like he was in Django. So yeah. What about you? We got any good recasters?
Yeah. So I put Kurt Russell's son Wyatt Russell as
Okay.
Wyatt Earp in a 2023 one. He was named after Wyatt Earp. So he was actually named after Wyatt Earp before he was even in this movie. So um, Boyd Holbrook as Doc Holliday. If y'all don't know who Boyd Holbrook is, look him up. You've seen him in tons of movies before. He's already kind of a Western dude. And usually plays a bad guy in movies. Bradley Cooper as Virgil, as the Sam Elliott role, just kind of playing off of their
Ooh.
relationship in A Star Is Born as their brothers in that
Okay.
movie.
Okay.
Austin Butler, who was in Elvis recently, I thought he'd be a good Earp brother, maybe Morgan. Luke Grimes, who's also from that Yellowstone show, as Ike Clanton. Miles Teller, maybe as Curly Bill. I liked Jake Gyllenhaal as Johnny Ringo. Let's put Jake Gyllenhaal in a Western. See how he
Yeah.
does.
He's already
And
been in a Western.
and then I put
Jake Gyllenhaal was
Tatiana.
in a Western with Heath Ledger
Yeah,
at
was
the time.
oh he was? I didn't even know.
You didn't know, but you didn't see Brokeback Mountain? That was definitely a
Oh,
Western,
that's a
brother. That
Western.
was
That is a
definitely a
Western.
Western.
And then I put Tatiana Maslany as Josephine. She's She-Hulk and also from Orphan Black. Thought she'd be good. But I did the exact same thing you did, where I just started naming off guys that I was like, Why are they need to be in a modern Western? So or Adam Driver I had listed, Jensen Ackles, Lucas Black, Josh Hartnett. After seeing him this past year,
Ooh,
Michael Shannon, who I think would be a
okay.
great Taylor Kitsch, who's from Friday Night Lights. Like, let's put all these guys in these westerns. I want to see it. I want to see like a 40 cast, like 40-person cast western, all these important people in it. So
Oh yeah. I mean, I really one of the best Western things I've seen in a long time. I know we're not doing the whole things I've seen. Hello, cat. One of the better Western things I've seen in a while is Westworld, and so
yeah,
like even I was kind of
Marsden.
thinking, yeah, I was thinking in that world, I was like Marsden would be, a good throw a good mustache on Marsden, and see what he
Mm-hmm.
does.
I like it. All right. Any other recast that we might have missed?
No, I think that covers it pretty good.
All right. I'm going to move into the fun facts. And before we start, I have a body count for you. 57 people died in this movie.
That seems about right. Like, especially the montage. I'm telling you, man, they running through folks in the montage. It's like kill, 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 kill,
Yeah.
kill, 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 kill. Like, I think
It's
they did a really good job with the montages.
it is I've got it all broken down here. Wyatt Earp kills 23, Doc Holliday
Okay,
kills 22, Jack
okay.
Johnson kills 17, Curly Bill kills 15, Ringo kills 13, McMasters kills 6, Johnny Law kills 2, Morgan Earp kills 1, and then Florentino Cruz kills 1. I don't know. Yeah, but that's a lot of them, and I've got this whole like list of all of them shot.
Man, that's awesome. Did you find that
Yeah,
on the internet somewhere?
yeah.
Man,
57.
that's cool. That's a lot. That's a lot, man.
That is a lot. It's a lot of.
Especially when you say Wyatt had top body count. It doesn't feel that way.
Mm-mm.
I would have guessed Doc.
Yeah, I would have said that too, but I guess there's just a lot that happened during the
The montage, man.
montages. Yeah,
Wyatt is going in.
just kills people, man, like crazy.
Yeah, he does. I'm telling you, that horse hide, reach around the horse.
That was the
That,
best kill, I
that
think.
move's crazy. Yeah, that's a highlight. That's ESPN tonight,
Hmm.
baby.
That's a top tenner.
That's a top 10.
All right, give me some of your facts. You
Fun
said
fact. What you know about William Defoe is supposed to be in this movie?
Willem Dafoe too scary.
No.
Oh no,
So
it's because of he was
tell
in
me.
Last
But
Temptation of Christ.
yeah, he was supposed to play Doc.
Nope.
And some dis distributor said like if you cast William Defoe because of the Christ movie, we're out. And so they thank God they put Val Kilmer in it,
Hmm.
like and yeah, I didn't know about that. Have you seen that movie with William Defoe?
Last Temptation of Christ? Yes, I
Yeah.
have.
Why were they? Did he do something? What? Why were they?
It's just a controversial movie and like how it depicts Jesus and everything. Basically that he did have a relationship with Mary Magdalene and wasn't like
Mm,
perfect. It was just a controversial movie at the time.
gotcha.
But yeah,
Makes sense.
Disney
Okay.
Disney didn't want to offend anybody at that time, and Disney owned whoever distributed this. So I think this might be a Touchstone or a Buena Vista or something like that. But
Makes sense. Makes
yeah.
sense.
Um,
Oh
what
man,
else you got?
I can't believe I left Cillian Murphy off of my recast.
Ooh, that would have been a good one too.
Yeah, I don't. Let's see. Um, I got that Val Kilmer. There towards the end when he really wanted to act like he was super sick, would put ice in the bed to
Hmm.
be like, I'm dying. Uh, Sorry,
No,
that's
you
not
do a
funny.
really good dying impersonation.
That's my. I'm dying of tuberculosis and laying on ice impersonation. Um, but yeah, I mean, serious about it. Laying on some ice to.
Yeah.
What about you? What else? I got one. I'm gonna say. I
Okay.
wanna end our fun facts on the one I got.
Yeah, so I had script was significantly longer than what was shown, which explains a lot of why we have a ton of like subplots and scenes that are cut. Apparently there's a lot that's in like the expanded DVD version that I didn't get to see, I know. So let's see here. If Curly Bill, the $500 that Curly Bill wins when he meets Wyatt at the table is equivalent to $6,700 in 1993. So not too
Dang.
bad. I don't know what $500 in uh, 2023 would be, but probably upwards to like 10, maybe 10,000,
Yeah,
12,000
not
bucks.
much. Mhm.
Let's see. I already said about the drunk stuff. Doc Holliday's wink to Billy Clanton was completely improvised. So that wink he gives right before he shoots him is all improvised.
That's awesome.
And let's see.
They all had to wear all that wool, man,
Yeah, that
in
was the big one. Like
Arizona.
it was the guy that directed this movie first was the writer of the movie, so Kevin Jari, and he wanted everything to be so authentic to the time, including all of the black wool costumes that these guys
Man,
were wearing in the middle of like Arizona in the summer, like just boiling.
which I don't know how much climate change has changed the temperature in Arizona, but like currently, I have friends that live there that like during the summer, 110 degrees is like normal.
Yeah.
That is a normal. I think this past year they went through like the longest streak they've ever gone through of over 110 degrees every day, and like wearing those big wool jacket trench coat thing. Like,
Yeah.
dude, yeah, no, thank you.
No.
Um,
The other thing I had is like during the creek scene. So apparently this is true. And the real life creek scene, the shootout does happen there. But one of the guys that Wyatt Earp kills at that scene actually survives that in real life, and he
mm,
manages to like escape and go to a farmhouse. And before he dies, he tells the story of how Wyatt Earp really did like walk through gunfire and
walk
shoot.
through a million
Yeah.
bullets.
So
Yeah.
apparently that's true, but you can't trust anybody in the Wild West. They're all lying about something.
You read the same thing I did, where it's like Kurt Russell, after they fired the original guy, that the next guy that they hired, Sam, or was like a ghost director, and like Kurt Russell, even Val Kilmer has been said in like interviews that the only reason Tombstone was as good as it was is because Kurt Russell like
Russell stepped in.
basically, yeah, basically took over the director role.
So I've heard that like a lot of like the actiony scenes that
Hmm.
George P. Cosmatos actually did direct, because he comes off of like, I think he directed like Rambo movies or stuff like he was good at the action stuff, but everything else acting wise was all Kurt Russell. And um, so
All right, so I got one final fun fact. You
give
ready?
it to me. I've been waiting on this.
There's one fake mustache in the movie.
Oh, whose is it?
I want your guess first. And I need some guesses in the chat. If you're paying attention, who's got the fake mustache? And I'll give you a little context. This person was in another series, either like it was coming up for them, or like they had shot it right before this, and they refused to grow a mustache. There's one
Uh,
character. Okay, we got to vote for Doc. That Val Kilmer's was fake.
let's see.
Anybody else? Anybody else?
I'm going through some of the guys. I'm just trying to look. Johnny Ringo's who I'll say. His looks a little too perfect. We got a
5,
couple docs.
4, 3, 2. You nailed it, Cody.
It's
It's
Ringo's.
Ringo. Ringo is the only one who has a fake mustache in that movie.
Nice.
Yeah, nailed it. So that was
Awesome.
one of the, yeah, I had to dig for that one, and it could be garbage. I mean, but there was even a little like context. that he was
Uh-huh.
in something else, and but because of that, he didn't want to grow one. So he's the only one that actually had to wear, not
A
grow.
mustache.
Everybody else like got the word, like, "Hey, we want some thick ass mustaches," and
Yeah.
Sam Elliott was like, "I got you, I got
Yeah, I
you,
was about to say, that guy could probably grow a mustache for everybody.
give me like 2 weeks, I got you, man." Yeah. So yeah, that's a final fun fact, man. Yeah,
Nice.
Ringo's and take a good look. Kind of looks fake.
Yeah.
Kind of look. I went back. I went back. Kind of looks fake. So,
All right. Yeah, there's no way. I've seen Kurt Russell grow a mustache before. His is pretty top notch, so.
oh man, his beards. Honestly, my guess would have probably been Bill Paxton
Oh, that would have been a good one too.
because his shit is weak in the movie. His shit
Yeah.
is super weak. So, everybody else is man.
I think I would grow a Bill Paxton mustache. I think that's what mine would look like if I chose to grow it
Weak
out.
ass mustache. Mhm.
All right. So I'm taking it that you liked this movie, or you at least enjoyed this movie.
I
What do
enjoyed this movie.
what do you think is probably a thing you would say bad that you wish could have been fixed?
I think that him taking a few bullets in the creek,
Yeah.
like I didn't have a problem with Virgil and Morgan bouncing back quickly
Mhm.
because like there was even a little argument for maybe it like kind of skimmed them.
Yeah.
And so I think even some skims in the creek and but man, I hated that. That
Yeah.
really was just like, well, what are you immortal now, bro? Come on, come on. Like that was a scary amount of gunfire coming from that brush over there,
Mhm.
and like you're just gonna walk through to the boss.
Just walking straight through, man.
Yeah, that's
That's how it
that's
happened.
yeah, that's it was they did a great job with this movie, especially switching directors. But the casting was so strong, like.
Mhm.
It's one of those things that I feel like in editing, they probably, man, I'd be really interested in seeing the longer version,
Yeah,
truthfully.
that's actually what I have put is like, where are all the scenes? Give me
Yeah.
more Josephine scenes. Give me more
Hmm.
Doc Holliday scenes. Give me more. Like, I just wanted more. It's like this movie was so long to me, but still
Yeah.
didn't have anything in it. Like, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Um,
I'd be interested in a 3 hour version just
yeah,
to
I'd watch
like
a 3 hour version of it.
give me some more context, like because Westerns could be that long, like so
Hmm.
it's got to be a slow burn
Yeah.
sometimes.
All right. So, like a fine wine and dish, if you could pair this with another movie for a double feature, what would you choose?
When it comes to the like some of the other modern westerns that I've liked, I really thought I enjoyed Appaloosa. So I
Oh,
think
I've never actually seen Appaloosa.
Appaloosa is a good movie. Like it's funny to me because it's one of those that I feel like always see in the $5 bin of
Mhm.
DVDs. It's like it's one of those that like it was so good, and I don't think it. Maybe it doesn't have. I need to watch it again, but maybe it doesn't have a lot of rewatchability. But uh, Ed Harris and Vigo are great in that movie. I enjoy the old 310 to Yuma, and I thought Russell Crowe and Christian
I
Bale did pretty great in the newer one as well. I
Yeah,
really enjoyed that. So I think that either Appaloosa or 310 would be a great like these are good modern westerns. Like
Mhm.
Tombstone's a great modern western. Appaloosa, 310 to Yuma with Russell Crowe and Christian Bale are great as well.
Yeah. Um, I think the other one that I'll bring up is Wyatt Earp. I've never actually seen the Wyatt Earp movie, but
The Kevin
apparently, like
Costner.
the Kevin Costner Wyatt Earp one was because Kevin Costner was attached to do Tombstone.
Oh, really?
And yeah, either he didn't like the director or didn't like the direction that they were taking with it. And he was like, nah, I don't want to do it. And basically gave Kurt Russell his blessing. He's like, no, do it, man. And like the Wyatt Earp movie came out like 6 months after this
I was about
in
to say it was very soon.
yeah. So it came out in '94. That might have been the easy like double feature. I also want to throw out a vote for. I had 310 to Yuma on here because I love the new one. I think the new one's so good.
Cool, cool. Me
Um,
too. Me too.
this is not a Western, but I think it kind of applies. The Untouchables, which is about like the group of FBI or whatever they are going after Al Capone and like getting together like a group of people to go after all these gangsters and take them out. Kind of like the end of this movie is the last 30 minutes of this is like, hey, we're going to go after all these people and set up traps and do all this stuff. So I like that
Yeah.
one as well.
I thought No Country for Old Men could be a good
Ooh,
watch
yeah.
with it too. Like just because that movie's fucking amazing by
Yeah.
itself. But just kind of it, man. You just gotta with westerns. A lot of times you just got it's just more of a slow burn. So a lot
Yeah.
of times you just gotta let it burn.
Gotta let it burn, Usher. Gotta let it burn.
Gotta let it burn.
All right. Rewatchability rating out of 5. What'd you give it?
I would put it back on next year for sure. So that to me that's pretty high. So I'm gonna go 3.5, three
All right.
five on this one. I
I
don't
gave
know
it
that
a
I could go full 4. What'd you get? What'd you
I
give
gave
it?
it 5, man. I think this
A
movie's
5?
so rewatchable.
Yeah.
But my overall star rating is lower. Like I don't think it's like a perfect movie by any means. I gave it 3 out of 5. Like it's very middle of the road.
Mm.
But I think the rewatchability of this movie is just like amazing. Like the quoting, like Val Kilmer, the Kurt Russell, the montages. Like I think it all just sucks you in. I don't think it's executed as well as it probably could have been, but I still think this is a hell of a rewatchable movie.
I think honestly I could go 4 for both. I think 4 on rewatchability, 4 overall.
Hmm.
Just because we had discussed one of my friends maybe possibly being on for this one, and he loves this movie, and I wanted to not like it just so I could kind of like talk shit to him,
Yeah,
uh, but I can't because I thoroughly enjoyed it, and so I would if somebody if my wife came down and was like, I heard you talking about that movie, I want to watch the whole thing. You're right. I think I totally would put it on faster than maybe I
right.
want to admit to. So I'd give them both a 4 on rewatchability and a 4 overall.
Nice. All right. Well, I think that's it. I think we did Tombstone, man. We
I
killed
think
it.
we did it. I think we did it.
Well, thank you so much, Steven. Have you watched anything recently that you would recommend to anybody, or listen to anything, or anything that you want to put out in the world?
Um, Man, if you don't, if anybody's watching that doesn't know that the Great British Baking Show is absolutely wonderful. We just closed another season of that wonderful, heartwarming show. If you just want to warm your heart and watch some people make some baked goods with all their might in a very short amount of time, then the Great British Bake. If you haven't heard, you should know by now. But also, I enjoyed I enjoyed the Squid Games reality show as well. I
I did not.
Yeah, I know there's people I like that. It's one of the things that I felt like recently like was kind of what I would refer to put in the categories like real world and road rules. Those things that just kind of you don't want them to suck you in, but they suck you in anyway.
Yeah.
Because I thought maybe it was the new season of Squid Games, like the show,
Hmm.
and it wasn't. And I was like, oh, this is dumb. Wait, who are these people? Uh,
Who
so
are all these
yeah,
white people?
sometimes it's good to turn your brain off and watch some dumb, easy TV where somebody's just gonna win several $1 million, and I think that's something that we all want on the inside. And if you need some of that, Squid Games is a good.
Ab-
But if you want to watch people make baked goods and be nice to each other, Great British Baking Show is good too.
Good
So,
recommendations, except I don't like Squid Game, but I love Great British Baking
what have you
Break. Yeah.
seen? What have you seen? What have you seen that's good?
You want to know what I've seen that's good recently? It's called Muppet Christmas Carol, and everybody
Oh
should
my
go watch
God.
the Muppet Christmas Carol. It's the best Christmas movie ever.
It
So
is, isn't it superior?
it's so good. It is
The music.
the best Christmas Carol adaptation, I think, of any Christmas Carol
I,
adaptation.
I
Hands down.
don't know many people that disagree.
Hands
Were you,
down.
man, can we talk about it for just, were you so scared of those, Marley and Marley, like,
The
the
boxes.
old men
Yeah,
that
yeah.
when they come up as ghosts and all, like, man,
There's a
how
lot of
scary.
the first ghost, the ghost of Christmas past, that little child baby looking thing. If you have an HD TV and you watch it now, it's scary. She is
Dude,
scary.
there's a dark filter on the whole movie, man. Some of the Muppets are really creepy, like almost labyrinth style too.
Mhm.
Man, completely agree. But after you're done watching that, watch Home Alone because everybody loves Home
And
Alone,
that's what I
and
did. I watched Home Alone right after it. So and I'm in the middle of Home Alone 2 right now, so we're doing great.
just don't go past that.
Don't go past that. Don't watch any more Home Alones because
Is
they're all
there a
terrible
three?
after.
There's a three, and
There's like 6 of them.
oh,
Yeah,
poor Macaulay Culkin.
I know, right?
Yeah,
Well, thank you, Steven. I've really appreciated
thank
talking to
you.
you about Tombstone. We've got 2 more movies left until the end of the year. Next week's movie is Grumpy Old Men. I don't believe it is streaming anywhere for free. If you do look on archive.org, or if you need a link, just reach out to me and I can get you a link to something that
Before we
uh,
leave, I want to say thank you for having me on this year. Thank you for doing this. I've watched more movies than ever. I love all the people that participate, and I'm looking forward to more next year. You're the best, man. I really uh, I love that you've done this, and I really
well,
appreciate you having me on.
I really appreciate it, man. And thank you for doing this with me. That warms my heart. I'm not gonna lie. Well, but now I can't even in stream. Anyway, Grumpy Old Men next week. Be there. We'll see you then. Happy holidays if we don't see you. Y'all are wonderful people. Thank you.